Hey, welcome back, viewers. It's your half-assed reporter, James Kalm, back from a little break. We're on Bleecker Street near the Bowery, and we're gonna stop in here at the Zersher Gallery, and we're gonna try to get some pictures of a show by Regina Bogat, works from 1965. We'll do our pan. So I guess this is, gosh, about 60 years worth of work, something like that. Okay, well, so this is Zersher Gallery. Here's an interesting little sketch on the wall. It's used to be Joel Shapiro's studio, and they've saved the drawing, painted over the pillar about 10 times. Okay, these are Shield 1, Shield 2, 1965, and well, there are a couple of reasons I wanted to come in and look at the show. One of them is that I've known Regina now for probably, maybe more than 20 years, and I think maybe one of my proudest accomplishments was kind of getting some other people to look at Regina. This is 55 by 26 inches. I'll give you a very brief narrative of the story. I guess this is Shield number 2. This is also 55 by 26. Acrylic on canvas. Back in the early aughts, I was spending some time with Fong Bui and Chris Martin, and we're all big fans of a great artist named Alfred Jensen. And I think Alfred Jensen passed away in 1984-85. But Regina was his wife. This is untitled 1966, parentheses November. This is 51 by 75. Well, I got a phone call. Fong said he and Chris were going to go out and visit Regina at her house in New Jersey, and they were wondering if I would come along because I was such a fan of Alfred's work. And so we did. We went out. Regina was very gracious, hosted us. Okay, so I want you to notice that Regina is actually using these little wooden strips as a kind of three-dimensional line structure in here. And it's interesting to pay attention to the way the little joints come up and what gets extended into the angle and what doesn't. Well, we went out, we had a great time in New Jersey, and as we're walking around, I noticed some pieces, and I'm looking at them, and I said, geez, I've never seen these Jensens. She said, well, those are mine. I said, wow, these are nice. Anyway, I kept that in mind, and maybe a year or so later. Okay, this is titled How the Bees Press Wax, 1966. About a year later, I was curating a little show in Williamsburg at a gallery called Dam Stuhlträger. I think the title of the show was something like Little Women. And, well, I curated Regina into the show, and there's some other wonderful artists that were also in the show. Kathy Bradford was one of the artists. Okay, this is 49 by 52. So that's a nice size. And we got people like Arthur Danto to come out and see the show. Anyway, within a year or two after that, I was cruising around Williamsburg, and I went to a little gallery, I think it was Art 101, run by a lady named Ellen Rand. So I'm kind of talking to her and gossiping about what's happening in Williamsburg, and she said, gee, you know, one of my programs here at the gallery is to spotlight underknown, underrepresented artists, especially female artists. And that's where she gets she has a big enthusiasm for that. This is titled The Duty of King Agamemnon, Variation 1. As we all know about King Agamemnon from the Iliad. This is acrylic on canvas, 44 by 30. Okay, here's the biggest piece in the show, I believe. Anyway, I'm talking to Ellen Rand, and she's telling me about her desire to expose underrecognized female artists, and so I took note of that. I went home, sitting in bed late at night. I have insomnia, and so I'm sort of thinking about things, and suddenly I said, gosh, I should introduce Ellen to Regina. So I called Regina. I said, would you mind if I introduced you guys? She said, no. Anyway, I introduced them. And, well, they fell in love. They had a lot of mutual interests. Ellen decided she wanted to give Regina a show. Okay, this is titled Astor 1967, acrylic wood on canvas, 72 by 60. And so Regina had a great show. We'll actually see a couple of the paintings from the series of works that she exhibited. And, well, while she was there, I did a little report, and then we did a little interview afterwards, and she talked about her history in the New York art scene, which is pretty extensive. You know, she was in the same building with Mark Rothko. She had a studio across the hall from him for years. This is untitled 1973, so now we've moved into the 70s. As a matter of fact, I think she took some of the best portrait photographs of Mark Rothko ever, and I think one of them is on the Rothko cover, the Rothko book, at least on the paper cover. Okay, this is acrylic enamel cord on canvas. Okay, so this is one of the interesting things that Regina started doing, was using these colored cords. And just as with the little strips of wood that she was adding as linear elements, now she's adding in the woven cord things, and they add a nice kind of color thing. Okay, this is a piece that I hadn't seen before, at least maybe I hadn't paid attention to it, but I think is really a good example of the kind of advanced thinking, kind of combining the idea of painting, geometric painting, color, and this also comes in about the time that pattern decorative was starting to take off. So this is titled Woven Painting, 1973, maybe a couple of years before that. Anyway, you can see how she's kind of combining certain kind of fabric things, weaving things that would become very popular with the rise of feminist art and pattern decorative and things. And she's combining that with a very high formalistic approach with the grid. I like the little holes that are punched in the sides here. Anyway, so I'm having an interview with Regina and I'm putting it on YouTube. And gosh, if some gallery dealer doesn't see it, Gwendoline Zersher, the lady that runs the gallery, and well, Gwendoline is also a supporter of female artists, especially maybe historic female artists that haven't been given the proper amount of attention that they deserve. This is Untitled, 1971. And as they say, the rest is history. Regina met Gwendoline. Gwendoline took her on and has been representing her for probably the last 8 or 10 years. And in that time, I think Regina's had at least 3 or 4 shows here at the gallery, but also Gwendoline has been very good at getting her into some major exhibitions at some of the big museums here in New York and in Europe. And well, it just makes me happy to see that somebody that you gave a little shove to, a little oots to, has been able to come out of she's about a 40-year hiatus and get people paying attention to her. This is titled Phoenix in the Mountain. This is 1980. So here she's combining a couple of things. She's combining the cord and the strips of wood. But again, I think one of the things I like about Regina is she's got a real creative sense, but very formalistic. Seven on Yellow, 1985. Acrylic wood on canvas, 60 by 50. That's about 5 by 4 feet. Well, I also like Regina's color sense. I was just looking at these strips of wood and thinking, how much time did she spend painting the little stripes in there? Also, she does a nice job with kind of the toned down, tinted down colors. This pink is kind of nice, and the grayed down blue. I'm gonna finish off looking at a couple of the star pieces. This is Star Study 2005, 12 by 16 inches. Okay, so these are the kind of work that she was doing when I curated her into the Little Women show. One of the other things I didn't know until I saw a Frances Barth documentary that she did on Regina was that I guess between about 1963 or 64, when she had a show scheduled that somehow got canceled. She didn't show again until the show at Ellen Rand's space in Williamsburg, which was, I don't know, 2011 11, 12 maybe. Okay, this is Dacagon 8, 2008, 30 by 36. And we can see that Regina's loosened up a lot, but she has maintained this geometric form. Now let's see, the Dacagon has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's a 10-pointed star. She did a whole series of 5-pointed, 6-pointed stars, 7-pointed stars. Each one of these configurations has another name. So this is James Kalm reporting on Regina Bogat. Works from 1965 to 2008 here at the Zersher Gallery. We're going to roll on and see if we can get some other interesting things. Stay tuned. Well, we've pedaled over to Chelsea. Special shout out to our viewers in Portugal, Buenos Aires, and Melbourne, Australia. Okay, we're gonna try to zip into Miles McEnery Gallery and get some pictures of an exhibition by Rico Gatson. We'll do our sweep. We came into Miles McEnery last month and covered the James Sienna show, and normally I would not come back to a gallery for 3 or 4 or 5 months before I repeated, but I think Rico was one of my favorite artists, favorite painters. And I'd seen some of these pictures online, and I was thinking, this is some pretty interesting developments that Rico has gone through. This is titled, Untitled, Spectral Visions 2022, Acrylic Paint and Glitter on Wood. This is 36 by 80. Also, I've got to hurry through. I was waylaid by another artist that saw me coming down the street, and he happened to have an opening tonight, so I'm not going to say he'd led me over to the opening, and I went in and spent some time there. This is Untitled Magic Star 1, 2022. Well, I've probably known Rico for, 17, 18 years. He was one of the more impressive artists that was part of the Bushwick scene. He lives out, well, at least he used to live out by Flatbush Avenue, not too far away from one of my favorite galleries, English Kills. This is untitled. It's like everything is untitled, but then we've got the parentheses with all kinds of titles in there. Luminous Bodies 1, 2022, Acrylic Paint and Glitter on Wood. And I've been documenting Rico's shows since he was down at Soho showing with Ronald Feldman. Well, I was going to say, as I've been watching the work for several years, and well, Rico just keeps getting better and better. Yeah, I think I saw an image of this online, and that made me say I had to come in here and see this. This is another untitled Expanded Light Consciousness, acrylic and painted glitter on wood. Well, if I was to analyze some of the developments that Rico's going through, I think that he's always, and this is why I think I'm going to splice this together with the Regina Bogat show. I think one of the things about Rico is he's always been a formalist, and that is he's using basic kind of hard-edged geometric forms. And, but I think one of the developments that I've noticed is that he has expanded his color range quite a bit. Also, you'll notice he's using black glitter on some of his black spaces, which kind of adds a little different surface thing and a little different color thing. This is also another untitled Magic Diamond 2 2022 acrylic paint and glitter on wood, 36 by 80. Okay, gosh. Well, I was talking about some of the developments, the changes, and it looks like Rico is using some spray paint. Also, he's got something happening. He's got some crackle happening on one of his washes, which is pretty interesting. Normally, I guess there are things you can do with acrylic to get it to start to do different things. Okay, this is a beautiful little piece. Double Consciousness 2022. This is 36 by 48. I think this also goes to what I was talking about of using the basic geometric forms, circles, triangles, squares. And he's got his stripes, very simple composition, but his color sense is exquisite, and there are little strangeness, little things that are not quite perfectly aligned, or little oddities in the way the designs actually work out, which shows me that he's not totally trying to remove the hand or the quirkiness of the individual. Untitled Luminous Bodies 2, 36 by 80. I guess that's one of his standard sizes. I think the use of the stripes of the patterning is very effective, especially when he does that in kind of a high contrast black and white. And then it's kind of laid in behind these nice, simple, colorful geometric forms. Okay, we're going to keep moving. entitled Malcolm in the Spirit, 36 by 80. Okay, and again I'm noticing he's using the spray paint. Little background on Rico, I think he's a guy from California, and I was reading through his resume. He also studied at Yale, which I think is interesting, and it's also appropriate because Yale is where Joseph Albers went after Black Mountain College closed down, and other people like Jack Torkov studied there. Okay, they're calling this Untitled 7 Panels, 2022 acrylic paint and wood on 7 parts. Overall dimension is 96 by 128. So each panel is 96 by 11 and a half. I'm gonna say, gosh, this is kind of like a little index of his recent artistic moves. Also, I think that when I first started seeing Rico's work, he was doing a lot of things that were sculpture, but they were very simple sculpture, almost, as simple as building a picket fence. So he'd have wooden forms. Some of them would be standing, they might look like a chair or something else, and then they would be painted, but at that point he used a very limited palette, maybe black, white, red, orange, green. Okay, so I like the way that this kind of goes from very complex things, stripe things, the band things. Okay, well, this makes me think of the Regina Bogat paintings that we just looked at, the little dashing stripes. Okay, all right, I get this. Some of these are thinner, some of them are wider. There's a little harmony thing going on there. It's another beautiful piece. Triple consciousness. 36 by 80, 2022. Oh, this one is reserved. That's good. So, yeah, it's interesting the way that the striped backgrounds read differently than the black and white striped backgrounds. Somehow the colored stripes make it more homogeneous, whereas the black and white really make the foreground colored forms pop. I'll go in the back room and see this works on paper. This is Albert, color pencil with photograph collage on paper, 22 by 30. Well, I remember that at one of his shows at Ronald Feldman, he had some pieces that were dealing with the Watts riots. I think that was 1968. It's titled Dawn. Bell. Color pencil and photo collage. This is almost one of his signature formats. The figure with the bursting color stripes. Isaac 2022. So that's Isaac Hayes. I'm sure that all of these have stories behind them. I like the color thing he's doing here. James Kalm, wrapping up a moving Saturday afternoon here in Chelsea, visiting an exhibition by Rico Gatson, Spectral Visions. Miles McEnery. You can like this, share, subscribe, recommend it to your friends, link it up to all your social media sites. And you can leave your thoughts, ideas, comments, criticisms, and suggestions below. We just like you to say, thank you, Kate. Thanks for the journey. That was nice. Thank you.